After 6 days of radio silence, Joe Biden was finally seen in public today as he boarded Air Force One for a flight back to Washington, D.C. from Delaware, where he was supposedly being treated for COVID-19. Up until today, we hadn't seen him since he announced his withdrawal from the presidential race on X, prompting a massive wave of rumors and reports about his current condition and how he's been holding up. Well, now we can confirm that he was absent from the public eye because he contracted COVID-19 last week. However, he has since tested negative and has been cleared by White House doctor Kevin O'Connor to return to the nation's capital. In an official letter released earlier today, his doctor wrote, quote, "The president's symptoms have resolved. Over the course of his infection, he never manifested a fever, and his vital signs remained normal, to include pulse oximetry. His lungs remained clear. The president continues to perform all of his presidential duties as always. I will continue to keep your office updated with any changes in his condition or treatment plan," end quote. But the question still remains, is Biden really fit to stay in office, or should he just resign? Because even though he's back in Washington, D.C. today, something seems noticeably different about him. And no amount of media spin or propaganda pushing from the regime or its puppets will get me to stop talking about it. To that point, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre went on The View this morning, and she completely dismissed the idea that Biden might not be fit to finish his term in office, even though he clearly is unfit.
There have been a lot of criticisms about if the White House was transparent enough about Biden's health in the months leading up to the debate. But now calls have gone further, including vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance saying if he's not up to serving 4 more years, can he serve out the rest of his term? How do you respond to that?
I think that's ridiculous. Seriously.
He's ridiculous.
Not me. But what I will say is, like, the president decided to not run for re-election. That's it. That's all he decided on. He wants to continue to do the work. 3.5 years of unprecedented historic work. I think that shows what he's capable of doing. I think that shows how important his leadership is. And moments ago, I talked about how he was able to reach across the aisle and do things in bipartisanship in the political environment that we're in. We have so much more work to do, and he understands that. He's going to speak to this in about 24 hours or so, and he'll lay that out. But this president is ready to continue to lead this country in a historic way.
Wow, that level of gaslighting would make someone like Joseph Stalin extremely proud. I guess we could endlessly debate Biden's fitness for office with her, but honestly, at the end of the day, I'm far more interested in what the American voters have to say about it, because we're the ones who have to live with the result. And on that note, a new survey from Quinnipiac University shows that 62% of Americans are glad to see Biden drop out of the presidential election, whereas only 27% of people said the move was wrong. And the same exact poll shows President Trump leading Kamala Harris by a few percentage points in a 6-way matchup with other candidates, including independent Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But in a head-to-head matchup between President Trump and Vice President Harris, Trump still leads, and this time by 2 points, capturing 49% of the vote if they were to have the election theoretically tomorrow, so to speak. And of course, this major support for Harris is deeply troubling, though, for many reasons. I mean, still 47% for Harris? I just don't understand that. And one of these reasons why it's so disturbing is the obvious fact that she doesn't have a proven track record of good policy, unlike President Trump, and she has a knack for pushing the most radical ideas around town. To that point, just as an example, Make America Great Again, Inc. released a new ad today to expose Kamala's radical roots, and it's quite captivating.
If you thought Joe Biden was radical, just wait until you get to know Kamala Harris. She's dangerously liberal.
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her.
You know, for far too long, the status quo thinking has been to believe that by putting more police on the street, you're going to have more safety. And that's just wrong.
You're confident this border's secure?
We have a secure border.
We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. That's correct.
People who are convicted in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, on death row, they should be able to vote?
I think we should have that conversation.
Abolish ICE. Yeah. Is that a position that you agree with?
Listen, I think there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE, and we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's new darling of the party. She 60 Minutes this weekend proudly calling herself a radical, and she's promoting policies like saying that every single carbon emission in the country, every car, should be eliminated within the next 11 years, everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate. Do you agree that she could possibly, in this ideology of the socialist left, could splinter your party?
No, I think that's fantastic.